Hey, how's it going, guys? It's Dr. O here with Total Athlete Sports Medicine and my co-host, Coach Dwight Johnson, NFL veteran. And today we have one of the best trainers in the game, strongman,
Yes.
Corey Carroll. Hey, Carroll, tell the people about you.
What's up? My name's Corey, head strength and conditioning coach here at Total Athlete.
Cool. Sorry. So Corey, you've been training for a minute, right? You participate in the strongman contest, like I talked about. How was that? What is that like?
Strongman is really cool. For those of you guys that don't know, you guys see like the people lifting up those big stones, stuff like that, lifting logs over your head, doing deadlifts. That's strongman. I got into strongman when I was around 19.
Oh wow. Okay.
And so not too long ago, only a couple years.
How old are you now?
I'm 21. About to turn 22.
Oh,
About to turn
man.
22.
Well, next week, right?
Yeah, next week. Yeah,
September
next week,
2nd.
Yeah,
Okay.
good memory.
I'm a date master. Yes.
So you said 19 when you started.
Yeah, 19. I used to watch Thor Bjornsson on YouTube, and he was getting ready for I think it was an Arnold Classic, and I used to watch his deadlift videos, and I thought it was really cool.
Yeah.
And then eventually I was like, I want to start doing max deadlift. So I wanted to attempt a 620 when I was 19.
Wow.
And I did like a huge strongman peak, and then I was like, I kind of fell in love with it from there.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, this is definitely for me.
It's crazy.
And then I kind of got more into like the events and all that, and then started competing, and just the rest is history from there.
Did you have did your school have weightlifting, like a team, or was it just more something you did as part of baseball and football and things like that?
Yeah, we didn't have a team. We had like a class.
Okay.
And then and it was mainly it was first for baseball, and then around junior year is when I really got into it, and I was like, I kind of like the training more than I did the sport.
Yeah.
And then I just kept progressing from there. Junior year is around the time where I was like really started like going every day, really adding weights on the bar and all that.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to be a bodybuilder initially in high school, which I feel like is pretty normal.
Right.
And then eventually over time I was like kind of like strength more. I want to be a powerlifter, and then it just developed into strongman. But it was pretty much just for the sport initially.
All right. So you played football and baseball, or just football?
Football and baseball. I played baseball since I was 10.
Okay.
And then, so that was my main thing. And then I played football senior year just from the coach. It was like, you should play football. I was like, yeah, sure. You know.
Yeah, that's all right. And I would like to say, Corey, I actually trained Corey when he was in high school at OTC baseball.
Okay.
I went here too.
Yeah,
so
he went here too.
yeah.
Yeah, so he was actually a trainer before he was a coach.
Okay.
I remember that.
Yeah, full circle.
Yeah, full circle, exactly.
That was around 9th and 10th grade.
I know.
And that was all the weightlifting I was doing just here.
Yeah. You weren't as big as you are now, man.
Oh,
you
no.
were just throwing it in.
I was way smaller. Yeah, nowhere near.
So what was that transition like, going from playing high school football and high school baseball to deciding you wanted to go to college? Did you play in college, or was it?
I was initially going to Georgia College as a walk-on.
Okay.
And then I had a torn labrum, or practically torn labrum and rotator cuff, and then I kind of was okay, I want to get away from this.
Right.
The coach was basically like, "You're not going to play."
Yeah.
I was like,
That was
I
baseball?
don't, baseball.
Okay.
Right.
And school was a little bit too high level for me, like personally in baseball. And so I was like, all right, all my friends were there. I'm just like, all right, I'm not going to do baseball. I'm just going to kind of hang out. And yeah, that was not a good decision.
Yeah. But so did you stay or did you graduate? What was that like?
College?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I went for a semester.
Okay.
And then didn't go to any classes really. Just partied the whole time.
That's like most freshman boys. I think.
It's not with the frat houses. You know, before that, we all did it.
But when did you make that decision that this isn't for you, that you can do what you want to do without being at Georgia College?
Oh yeah, so the main reason I went there was to be a personal trainer.
Right.
Should have done more research. Didn't know you needed a degree, or you didn't need a degree for that.
Okay.
So after that, I went to my my administrator to become a dual major.
Right.
And it was like strength conditioning and nutrition. She was just asking me what my degree is for, just to make sure I wasn't wasting a degree. I was like, be a personal trainer. She's like, you don't need a degree. So I kind of took a step back, and it was like, is this really the best place for me? Not improve intelligence-wise, but it improved like as a person as a whole,
Okay.
Exactly.
all together. And then I kind of took a step back and realized it wasn't.
Right. Okay.
And I was like, well, you know, I'm kind of wasting my time here now. I'm just here to party, so let me. And then I immediately called up Natural Personal Training Institute over here in McDonough, and then
Right.
signed up for that, and the rest there was history, pretty much.
Yeah.
And then you went on to get like other certifications as well, right? You, I think you're NASM certified and something else.
Yeah. So I got NASM MBTI there,
Okay.
and then I eventually got my strength system was an international one. So
Yeah.
those are the three. I haven't really got anything else from there.
So who have you trained internationally? I know you were saying something about that yesterday.
It was one of my clients. He just moved over there
Okay.
from here, and then I thought it was a good spot for me to get international certification, but also kind of just develop more knowledge.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad I did that because that certification alone
Right.
probably takes up about 90% of the stuff I use now.
Wow.
So and it was a bodybuilding, strongman, powerlifting certification too. So they actually went to like aspects of each one.
Right. Exactly.
And that's kind of like my main foundation, I would say, for that.
And you were saying you treated people as far as in Australia.
Yeah.
Okay.
He lived here,
Okay.
competed in powerlifting,
In
and then
Australia.
no, he competed in powerlifting here.
Okay.
Moved to Australia just for the kind of like opportunities over there,
Yeah.
and then that's where I got my international certification, just so I could train him pretty much.
Right.
It was more just like a cool thing.
Yeah.
Like I thought it'd be cool,
Yeah.
and then I still wanted to train him because he was like my kind of like big client at the time.
Yeah.
But then we progressed from there.
Yeah.
Right, and also, he's our strength and conditioning coach, lead strength and conditioning coach here at Total Athlete Sports Complex. Been with us for a little over a year.
Yeah, a little bit over a year.
A little bit over a
Yeah,
year. When he came in at Total Athlete, he added a good system for strength and conditioning for our guys. When you see our kids that come in that are skinny, they got to get bulk and get bigger, he's able to transform them in months.
Okay.
And not just that, he also provides them with the nutrition plan if they need to gain muscle mass, if they need to lose weight, and he's able to help a lot of kids trim down as well to reach their optimum level of training.
Yeah.
So I mean, I just want to say, man, you are added value to Total Athlete Sports Complex.
Appreciate that. Really appreciate it.
When I come in, when we get a client that comes into Total Athlete, the first person I take him to is Coach Corey. After they see you, and I say, you're going to talk to Coach because he's so knowledgeable.
Right. He knows that. He knows his stuff.
He knows his stuff.
Yeah.
And you can tell a person's passion by how they speak about it.
Right.
And that right there, says a lot to anybody that comes in a Total Athlete. They say, I want to be around this guy because he can develop my son. He can develop my athlete to be a better. And kids want to be around it.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that I feel like it's a little bit undervalued. We of course, we talk about the skill of everything, the speed and agility of everything, but being able to actually lift weights with proper technique is a skill in itself. And a lot of people are doing it wrong, and then they get injured. And when you have a coach like Coach Corey, you can do things the right way and then help prevent injuries. And then in the event you do get injured, of course, I'm here to take care of you. But that's cool, man.
I like the compliments.
And also a lot of athletes have training at their high school.
Yeah.
So they feel like, well, if I'm training in my high school, I don't need to train here at Total Athlete. And I'll be like, nah, you need to train it because high school training or weightlifting it's going to be basic.
It's gonna be basic.
It's not going to be in depth how we do it, how we break it down. How Coach Corey does it.
Yeah.
We break everything down, and I want you to tell the kind of like the weekly routine of like some of the things we do on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Just take the audience through a typical day of weightlifting at Total Athlete if you're an athlete.
So we have an upper lower split. So that for you guys kind of new to weightlifting, that means we have a day we do only upper body, day we do only lower body, Monday upper, Tuesday lower. And we'll just keep going like that. We do upper first because usually if you do lower body the day before upper, usually when you go into the upper day, you feel a little bit more fatigued.
Right.
Lower body movements usually take a lot more central nervous system adaptation. So usually recovery time's a little bit longer. Right. Usually we have light days. So light days are going to be early in the week, Monday, Tuesday. Then our heavier days are going to be Wednesday, Thursday. Now the big lifts, we have 4 big lifts we kind of go towards. The frequency on those, frequency like how many times a week we do it, is twice. It's going to be a bench press, power clean, back squat. And instead of deadlifts, we do power clean. Because in my opinion, it is a hip hinge movement like deadlifts, but just not the risk of injury. And they're athletes. They're, I mean, a lot of them are explosive. So why would we train them like, I mean, a powerlifter or bodybuilder when they're explosive athletes? Completely different. So
Exactly.
And then the fourth one, we just added this in actually just like this week, push press, and another explosive movement. Just kind of adding in. And then what we do after that kind of picks on what phase we're in, because we're not just gonna like give like, okay, 3 sets, 8 to 12 of like curls, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna have like certain movements for certain goals, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And there's a whole bunch of different goals you could do, and there is phases we just focus on one, but we kind of moved away from that just because, like, you know, when kids are in and out, we have multiple, like, the basketball players might be in off season, but the football players are in season.
Correct.
So we kind of like do conjugate where we train all goals at one time. Like we might do like leg press for hypertrophy. But we also might do hang cleans for power, kind of like that. And then we just progress through load from there. We deload. You know what I mean, whenever we feel like needed. You know, I mean, they're younger. You know, the younger they are, the less they have to deload, pretty much. So.
Right.
Yeah, we don't really pick too complex movements or anything. You know, they're younger.
Yeah, exactly. Keep it simple.
Yeah. Some movements could take months to learn, and we don't really have that kind of time.
Correct. I see what you're saying. Right.
Yeah. And I like what you mentioned. You said basketball players. I know there's a lot of different sports and different athletes who think, oh, weightlifting is going to make them worse at their sport. But the other day I was seeing, they said Steph Curry can curl 100 pounds dumbbell. So, and he's a 3-point specialist. And you would think that would mess up his shot, but nah, he curls that weight just to prove that basketball players need to lift weights too. Not just football players, not just wrestlers, not just baseball players, but every sport has to have weightlifting and weight training in their routine, right?
Yes, I do. You know, of course, you know, being a former NFL player, a former collegiate player, you have to lift weights. And the main 2 reasons you lift weights is to perform at an optimal level and to prevent injuries.
Yeah.
You know, that's the reason you lift weights. Now, in the process of lifting weights, of course, you're going to look good.
Yeah.
Your physique, you know what I mean? All that comes with it, but that's not the primary reason athletes lift weights. So, go right ahead. You can expound on that as well.
Yeah, I mean, the only people, I mean, a big stimuli, like, I don't get too big. You know what I mean? Muscle is such a long duration thing. And muscle protein turnover is not quick enough for you to gain. You're not going to gain 10 pounds of muscle in a month. I mean, it's not that likely you'll gain that much in a year.
Right.
You know what I mean? It takes a very long duration thing.
Correct.
So usually when people come in, they're like, I don't want to get too big though. I'm like, you know, let's not worry about that.
Right.
And then a lot of the people are like, oh, like, it's going to make me worse at basketball. It's going to make me worse at this. You got to train specific to your goal.
To your goal.
So if you're a basketball player, you can't train the exact same way. There can be similarities as a football player would. You know what I mean? So you got to think about your sport, like how will this improve my sport? And then weightlifting is really good. You know what I mean? As we just life in general and our sports, we create imbalances in our muscles. We see it all the time. You know what I mean? Like someone that's like bench pressing a lot, their shoulders are going to be more rounded forward, stuff like that. Same thing with sports. And so weightlifting will actually kind of provide the fix these imbalances. And that's actually the main reason of the off season, to fix imbalances. So when we get in the season, the imbalances are just going to occur.
Right.
But they're not going to be so severe when they get out of the season.
Yeah. Right.
And also, if you have a good amount of muscle mass before the season, it's going to be really hard to kind of keep that weight up during the season. I mean, you're burning so many calories. So if you kind of already have that base of muscle mass, the likelihood you come out of that season still with a decent amount and be able to progress even more for the next year is way more likely.
That's cool. And also, you know, it's a difference when we're doing like upper body weights for a football player compared to a basketball player.
Oh yeah.
So a lot of times, you know, we use dumbbells a lot so they don't lock up their shoulders. If a basketball player comes in the gym, we don't want him doing a lot of straight bar lifts. That's what I'm saying. And just like you being a former baseball player, straight bars kind of what y'all want to stay away from. But you want to do a lot more where you can get the full range of motion in your shoulders by doing dumbbells and stuff like that. So we do a lot of that. So of course, unless you're a defensive lineman, offensive lineman, linebacker, you can do the straight bar a lot. But if you're a quarterback, we're not going to really have you doing a lot of straight bar lifts because it just limits the range of motion in your shoulders.
Right. And not to say you won't do it, you still do them.
You still do them,
Just like what I was talking about before, frequency is going to be a lot less. and we're going to do movements where you have kind of more free range of motion.
Yeah, right. Yes, exactly.
And do kind of your body's natural movement patterns.
Right.
Yes, and also we do a lot of functional training.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, you can talk
Yeah.
about the functional training like before we do a nice 5-10 minute warm up, and at the end of the workout you put them through a functional movement training. And Friday is a big one as well.
Functional Friday, yeah.
Functional Friday, yes sir.
And then go on top of that, during the training also, we do kind of functional training just like that. We'll do HEG split squats, stuff like that, sled pushes. It's kind of general physical preparedness work.
Correct.
And one thing I tell my athletes in there all the time, they come in not very mobile. And I'm like, the more mobile you are, the more healthy you are.
Yes.
The more kind of that you have like a vessel that have more strength potential, more muscle mass potential.
Correct.
If you come in, no cardiovascular base set at all, you can't do a full squat, you can't touch your toes. You know what I mean? All that, we're gonna have to build that foundation, build up that cardio, build up that mobility again, and then we'll start progressing in the weights.
Yeah, there you
Because
go.
if you start progressing with limited range of motion, you're not gonna really, you're just gonna get progress with that limited range. You're not really gonna gain actual true strength, in my opinion.
Right. No,
It is
I
gonna
do.
make the dysfunctions worse.
Yes, it will. It will. And we always pride ourselves here at Total Athlete to build a foundation solid. What's the foundation? Based off of flexibility, limberness, speed and agility. You got to be able to build a foundation, then you can build anything on top of that. You know what I mean? And we're strong about that. So if you get a kid that comes in here, like you have a big kid that just signed up this week.
Oh yeah.
Big 13-year-old, 6'3".
Yeah. 300 pounds.
300 pounds. Yeah, 300 pounds.
Are you sure you're 13?
And you can, yeah, and I know you started with it, but you know what? It's with all levels. You know,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
never lifted weights before, so
Right.
he come in. He has to, I'm sore, coach. I'm sore, coach. Then he's talking about he's getting lightheaded and all this. But we slow him down and teach him
Yeah.
the process. And I appreciated you because you told him, hey, take a break. If you feel lightheaded, we're not gonna do this.
Yeah.
And you know, because it's not about coming in and just hitting it hard. We got to build you up. You know, we got to teach you. We're coaches first. We're teachers first. You know, and once we teach you, then we can add on top of that. But this young man has never done anything. He's been on the couch for the past 2 years.
Yeah.
You know, in
Yeah.
COVID, and he just 300-pound 13-year-old, overgrown 300-pound 13-year-old. There we got. But what I love about him that he shows up every day.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
I don't think he's missed a day
Nah,
since
nah.
Monday. He came Monday, he came Tuesday. We're gonna hope he keep our fingers crossed on this other day.
Yeah.
So far, he's 2 for 2.
Yeah, so that's a good point. That's a really good segue for what I wanted to touch on. The age of the athlete when they start lifting weights.
Yeah,
There's this old myth that you don't want to lift weights too early, but when you have a good strength coach, you're really just learning technique. You know, even as early, I think I've seen them as 5 years old, just learning technique. Even if you're just using a broomstick to know how to do things the right
It
way.
don't have to be heavyweight.
Yeah, so you can come in when you start adding weights to it and actually know what you're doing already without injuring yourself. You don't want to, you know, nothing against the 13-year-old who came in, but that's not to say that it's too late. But if he would have came in a little bit earlier and just learned technique, then it would have kind of mitigated some of the soreness and some of the issues he was having coming into it now. So I'm a big proponent, being a doctor of physical therapy, that you can start lifting weights at an early age as long as you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Don't go in your garage with your uncle and start lifting weights and he doesn't
Maxing
know
out
what he's
that.
doing.
Exactly.
Get someone that's certified, that knows what he's doing, to come and teach your child how to properly lift weights so he doesn't get injured and doesn't stun his growth or anything crazy like that.
So here at Total Athlete, we try to keep it 8th grade and up.
Yeah.
You know, so this young man's 13 going on 14 in a few weeks. We keep it 14 and up, or 8th grade and up. That's
Just for
gonna
safety
help.
reasons.
Just for
Yeah,
safety
yeah.
reasons, because we don't want the
Kids
younger
playing
kids
around.
in there playing in the weight room,
Yeah.
you know, for liability. We don't want that.
Yeah.
So that's how we kind of keep. But even in our strength and conditioning classes for our elementary kids, we do elements of, you know, plate pushes, strength training without, you know, a lot of body resistance stuff with the bands and stuff. We have a couple broomsticks for them. Sled pushers, they're not doing a whole bunch of heavy lifting off the ground.
Right, of course.
Oh, no.
Not
Yeah,
even-
push-ups,
max-
sit-ups, pull-ups. So we're real big in that. But if you want to lift weights, we start here 8th grade and up. We come in at 14, going on 14. We can start you in our weightlifting program, and it starts at 5:30. 5:30 Monday through Thursday in the evening. 5:30, 6:30.
Yeah. And I misspoke. There's no research that says that with weightlifting will stunt your growth.
Yes.
If you're going to be 5'8" like me or 6'5" like Coach, that's in your genetics.
Yeah.
Weightlifting will not stunt your growth.
Yeah.
That's a big myth. The research doesn't support that, so kind of delete that from your minds.
Yeah.
As far as as far as the group training, like Coach said, we do it here in a group setting. So that's why we don't let kids under the 8th grade or under 13 kind of lift weights. But if you have one-on-one coaching from someone who knows what they're doing, then you can kind of accommodate for that.
Correct. We can.
And to go off that, I mean, the earlier you weightlift, people don't realize, how awesome it is to have control of your muscles and know, you kind of like be able to see something and just do it.
Right.
And if you have no experience weightlifting, haven't really played sports, the likelihood that you watch me do something you can do exactly the same is going to be way less.
Yeah.
So if you start lifting like 5, 6, like DK Metcalf started lifting at 5.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
like-
his dad played in the league, was an offensive lineman, I think.
Oh,
And was
okay.
had him training. He's like, he can squat 90 pounds at
Yeah,
5 years old.
yeah,
That's awesome.
Right.
That's man back
Just say,
then.
right.
Man
Man child.
child. Man child. That's it.
But be able to be efficiently use your muscles and because when you're young you're going to use light weights, so it's a perfect time to kind of set like you're talking about before, foundation, technique, all of that, and then the kids that start lifting young, even though it might be broomstick, even though it might just be like an empty barbell, when they're playing their sports, I promise you, those kids are going to be the best.
Yeah.
They're going to be able to
Yeah.
coach tells them to do this, they'll be able to move their body exactly how they
Right.
tell them. And that's very underlooked, I feel like, in sports.
Right.
Being able to pick it up just like that.
Right.
Because when you go to high school and then when you guys go to college, you're gonna have to pick it up just like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
They're not gonna. There's a lot of people there. They're not gonna be able to spend an hour on you. You know what I mean? You gotta be able to just pick it up and then keep going. So
Yeah.
the earlier the better. Earlier the
So
better.
yeah, so that's the good thing about our programs. You see, this is our Wall of Fame. We prep our guys to go into college. That's the whole thing. We want them when they get to college, they're college ready.
Right.
They're ready to step on the field, perform. They're not new to lifting weights or hard work.
Yeah.
I should say.
Yeah.
They're ready to roll.
Yeah.
And also another thing, we have this basketball off season, which they probably started in November. A lady called me today and was like, I want my son to do the Vertimax. Do you have a Vertimax machine? I was like, yeah, I have a Raptor Vertimax. I said, but it's not the machine that makes your
people get caught up in the
They get
gimmicks.
caught up in the gimmicks.
Yeah.
It's not, I said it's the coach.
Right.
And things like that. So she ended up signing up, and her first session was on Sunday at 9 a.m. and things like that. But I said, but they get caught up in the gimmick. You talk about that, it's not really about having all the latest, because we do have nice equipment. Don't get me wrong. But if we had all nice equipment and I'm not a good coach, then we would not get great results.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a lot of people you see you go to the Gold Gym, you see them high schoolers doing them fancy side presses and stuff like that. Just stick to the just stick to the basics and progressively overload on the same movement. And a lot of people kind of change movements every week, stuff like that. A lot of coaches will. And how do you know you're getting better in the movement if you did this week or you do something completely different next week?
Yeah.
How do you know you're getting better? You know what I mean?
That's right.
You're just training different, kind of just learning the form. All right, let's do something else now.
Yeah.
So just stick to the basics. No point to add all that fancy stuff. As you advance, and let's say you've done all these movements for your quads.
Right.
Maybe you could do something that you haven't done before that is a little bit more fancy, stylish, that kind of catches the eye a little bit more. Because it's neat because they're more advanced.
Right.
But if you're young, and then just stick to the basics. No point to go outside the basics. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's great advice.
What's your thought on CrossFit?
CrossFit, it's really good for setting a base. I feel like. With all my strongman athletes, I do recommend they do year Olympic lifting, a year of CrossFit, just to set a foundation. And that just goes with the sport.
Yeah.
But CrossFit does set a really good foundation for cardio, mobility, neurological coordination, because they do power clean snatches, stuff like that. And I actually first started on CrossFit. That's actually my first thing I've ever done.
Oh, really?
And I feel like that set me up to where I am now, because now I'm very mobile, stuff like that. At least for my size, but but I feel like that foundation I set in the very beginning kind of set me up for all of these years of progress I've had.
Okay.
So if you're kind of really young you're kind of looking for something to do, you could join a CrossFit gym. You know what I mean? It'll kind of, they're not going to kill you in the weights or same thing like broomstick, stuff like that. But you're also going to get a lot of cardio in along with weightlifting. And it's going to be very good for you.
Cool. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
And very, very informative. We have weight training the hours again, Monday through Thursday from 5:30 to 6:30 is our first time. Then we have a second time from 6:30 to 7:30, which a lot of the people that miss the 5:30 or the adults come in, they like to lift weights. Because we do work out with adults as well.
Yeah.
So we have a young man that been with us, Daryl's been with us about 3 months. He's lost over 50 pounds.
5 months.
5 months,
Yeah,
5 months, and he's lost. How much weight? You know, you deal with him all the time.
I think it was around 56 pounds last week.
56 pounds.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
Since the
amazing.
spring, he's lost
Yeah.
56 pounds.
Yeah, now we're kind of adding a little bit of weight because you can't, you can't just lose weight all the time, be in deficit all the time.
Yes.
Because your hormones will get off balance, all that kind of a bunch of bad stuff will happen. So you need to go down, maintain, go up, maintain, go down, and so you can't just be cutting for a long time or bulking for a long time. You got a maintenance phase in between. You got to go back and forth. So right now we're getting a little bit of weight, not much, and then we're going to maintain that for a little bit, and then we're going to cut back down.
Okay, good.
And it also kind of gives them a break from constantly like eating scraps all day.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
He's on a nutrition plan as well, right?
Yeah, he's on a nutrition plan.
Good.
Yes. And could you briefly talk about the nutrition plan? You speak about the vertical diet. What's the purpose of the vertical diet?
The vertical diet is optimized digestion, pretty much. It's pretty much simple stuff that digest easily. Things to say to avoid, and honestly, it's mainly for people that are trying to add weight. But also, I like to use it for people who has a messed up metabolisms, pretty much. Kind of help reset their metabolism a little bit. But it stays away from things that kind of cause bloat, takes too long to digest, stuff like that. Like it even says no oatmeal. It's big on rice, big on oranges. And I actually have like a PDF I kind of send to my clients.
Yeah.
They'll have like eat this amount of this a day. They make sure you get this vitamin. It's big on pure cranberry juice to get iodine. Help with thyroid function, will boost metabolism, stuff like that. Wow. So a lot of people, they will come up to me and be overweight and then be like, I'm never hungry and stuff like that. Wow. Then I'll get them on vertical diet for a month and then they're like, wow, I'm starving all the time.
Yeah.
And then we'll kind of go back to like a little bit more diet with like more slower digesting carbs and a lot more fiber and stuff like that. But if I just threw them in with all that fiber immediately, they would not be having a good time at all.
Yeah.
But with the nutrition, main things just like micronutrients. Most people are deficient like vitamin C, vitamin D, just stuff like that. Everyone's different because this person might eat a lot of carrots, so he gets enough vitamin A, but this other person might literally get no vitamin A. So it just depends on the person pretty much.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
Yeah, and before ever starting a new diet, you definitely want to consult with a professional, preferably a MD, your primary care doctor, anything like that.
Yes.
And if, just in case you feel any differences or you're on any medication, they might have to do some blood work to make sure you're good, to see where you might be deficient at, and things like that. There's a lot of different diets out there. Like me personally, I started one about a week ago where I actually only eat once a day and I fast every Wednesday. So that's good for me. That works for me. I've been able to keep my weight and still be mentally sharp and things like that. But that's not for everybody. So it varies from person to person.
Yeah. Yes, it
most
does.
definitely. All right. Cool. So where can the people? You had something?
No, I'm good. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, where can they find you online as far as social media and things like that?
On social media, Corey Carroll PT, and then is it underscore PT? I'm not sure.
I think so.
Corey Carroll underscore PT is KOREY CARROLL underscore PT.
Gotcha.
And then there's a lot of information on there. And then see me lift cool stuff too. That would be But there's a lot of just scroll down. There's information about supplements to kind of restore your insulin sensitivity, stuff like that. Just tons of information. And then on there you can, if you want coaching inquiries or consultation, just DM me and we'll get something going. A lot if you just ask for a diet, I usually just do that for free. So
Well, if you want to meet them in person, come on in here at Total Athlete.
Come on in, yes.
Here in McDonough, Georgia. We had 360 McDonough Parkway, or 364 McDonough Parkway here in McDonough, Georgia. And Obviously, I'm here, Total Athlete Sports Medicine on all platforms. And then we have Total Athlete on Facebook, and then Total Athlete GA on Instagram. Is that right?
Yeah, no. So on Instagram it's total
Athlete.
underscore athlete. Total underscore athlete. You see it on Coach Corey's chest, and I have the Facebook Total Athlete GA
On Facebook. Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of information on that one.
Yeah.
That's more about training stuff.
Training, yes.
Cool. Well, we enjoyed giving y'all all the knowledge we could for today. We thank you, Corey, for coming in and
Appreciate you, big man.
educating the
Awesome.
people and everything,
Yeah.
and we appreciate you, man. So look forward to future episodes. We're going to have some more athletes on our wall of fame, some more trainers, and they're going to give you all of their knowledge, tell you where they fell short, where they did what they did right, and things like that. So we definitely stay tuned, and we look forward to seeing y'all in the next episode.
Yes, we do. And also remember, we're at some point we'll start doing online training. We want to reach more people outside the four walls of the gym as well. So you'll be able to work with myself, Coach Corey, Dr. O, on what your personal needs.
All
So we appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in.
Cool.
Yes,
Have
sir.
a blessed
Thank you, guys.
day.
Peace.
Thank you. Peace.